Thanks for watching my review about the best puppy training videos you can find online. There are literally hundreds of online dog training programs and puppy training videos. Some are better than others and some are downright dangerous. Today I'm going to share my Doggy Dan review with you. It's a very popular product and it's selling very well online. All the reviews about the Doggy Dan program are glowing and recommend buying the product. And of course most claim to have used the program to train their unruly dogs. I must be honest, I have my doubts about that. The reviews mainly focus on aspects like ease of use, price, customer support, and the refund policy. All these things are important, but not more than the training style itself. That's the thing that makes or breaks a training program, well, in my opinion anyway. But for the sake of completeness, I'll quickly give details on these. Ease of use. I found it easy to navigate the site and find information. Everything is clearly labeled and naturally flows from one section to another. You could easily jump to any specific sections that interests you. Price. You start with a 3-day trial for $1 and then you'll be billed $37 per month after that. If you cancel within your 3-day trial you are billed nothing. Customer support. I didn't use the customer support, but the support I received when signing up was painless and quick. Refund rate. According to the affiliate information, the refund rate is roughly 1% for every 100 members. The average time someone remains a member is 3.5 months. This tells me folks are absorbing the information in roughly that time. So, now for the meat and potatoes of the program. Doggy Dan's training philosophy is based on the idea of a pack, a wolf pack in particular. It's also called dominance training, alpha training, or dog whispering. He shares this philosophy with other celebrity trainers too, such as Cesar Millan. This is the first thing about the program that I dislike, and it immediately loses some credibility here. Although CM's techniques are to the extreme, whereas Doggy Dan's are somewhere in the middle. Doggy Dan is what you call a balanced trainer. It's a mixture of correction-style training with aspects of positive, no-force methods. For example, positive techniques are used to begin with. But if these are not successful, then more correction-style techniques are used. The latter can be very damaging to your intelligent and sensitive German Shepherd. When you enter the members area, you are directed to a section on how to become the pack leader in your dog's life. The basic idea behind pack training is to constantly remind your dog that you are a higher-ranking member and he/she is a lower-ranking member of the pack. This is achieved by mimicking the actions of wolves whenever you interact with your dog. And in a puppy's case, you'd act like the mother wolf to train your pup. Apparently, if you don't do this, your dog will take over as the pack leader, control your household, and behave badly. I read somewhere that once you are the established pack leader, bad behaviors disappear or are easier to overcome. In my opinion, this is a ridiculous notion. I hear from people every day via email and in comments on this blog about how the unwanted behaviors escalate, and in some cases their German Shepherds are more aggressive. The 5 Golden Rules. Doggy Dan has 5 golden rules to becoming the pack leader. Due to the terms and conditions, I'm not allowed to reproduce any information not strictly approved, so I'm not able to detail them here. I will share 2 that are well-known concepts in dominance training. Gesture eating. Gesture eating. Doggy Dan reviewing the program. Doggy Dan's first step to becoming a pack leader and reminding your dog of your higher rank is to gesture eat while your dog is watching. You could eat your breakfast, supper, or even an aria as long as you eat before your dog does. The belief behind this is that the alpha pair of a wolf pack will eat before the lower-ranking members. The second part of this step is to remove your dog's food within 1 second if he/she doesn't start to eat immediately. The idea is to remind your dog that you control the resources. Firstly, no amount of gesture eating is going to convince your highly intelligent German Shepherd that you are a dog or an alpha. Your dog knows that you are different to him/her. Dogs aren't stupid. That's the reason they have evolved alongside us for thousands of years. And why they are known as man's best friend. Charlie, Z, and Lexi eat every evening at 7 p.m. I like to keep a strict eating routine. We eat anywhere between 7:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. I feed my dogs without any gesture eating and they're super well behaved. We're a family unit, and we don't try to dominate each other. I do ask each of them to do a little work before they eat. First they sit and each one has a trick or behavior they do before I give the release command for them to eat. That's not me being an alpha, they enjoy doing tricks and behaviors. And it's much easier to feed 3 dogs in close proximity to each other if they are well behaved and attentive. Secondly, your dog is well aware of the fact that their resources come from you. They don't need to be constantly reminded. They know you put down their food bowls every morning and evening. Heck, mine start calling me half an hour before their supper time. And besides, should you remove the water bowl too? I mean, water is a resource after all. Ignoring your dog after separation. The basic principle here is after being away from home you should totally ignore your dog when you return. No speaking, no eye contact, no touching or responding to happy wagging tails. Apparently each time you return home from being out your dog is going to check who the pack leader is. Really? I don't think so. I always respond to my dog's happy welcome home. How could I not? They are always happy to see me, even if I've been out for 5 minutes. I've never had a problem with them wanting to be pack leader just because we greet each other in a friendly way. Sure, if one of them has a problem with jumping behavior I address that. Simply ignore the jumping behavior and only give them attention once all 4 paws are firmly on the ground. But to totally ignore them like they're not there? Not going to happen. Doggy Dan's everyday tools and techniques. Dog training tools. Doggy Dan review. After you completed the 5 golden rules to becoming the pack leader, the site naturally flows to a set of tools and techniques Doggy Dan uses in his training style. I was pleased to see a bunch of great, no-force techniques and tools here. These are science-based, no-force dog training techniques. Like, stop, start, change direction, using short and long lines and the freeze. And then I came across isolation. Here Doggy Dan rightly explains that dogs are social animals and placing them in isolation is a form of punishment. Remember when you were a kid? The timeout step your parents sent you to when you misbehaved, to think about what you've done? Or the naughty corner at kindergarten where the disruptive kids were sent? The isolation technique in Doggy Dan's training program is exactly the same concept. Basically, if you've tried to get your dog to stop a certain behavior that you don't like but he/she keeps doing it, the answer is to place him/her in isolation with no stimuli. The isolation should not be fun for the dog. Firstly, your dog is not able to think about what they've done wrong. Secondly, it's a short-term solution that does not address the root of the unwanted behavior. If you get to the root, you can help your dog change that behavior. And lastly, it's been proven that using punishment or aversive techniques in dog training destroys the dog-owner relationship, lowers the dog's self-confidence, makes the learning process so much slower. Granted, Doggy Dan is very careful to explain that putting a dog in isolation should be done in a calm manner with no force or violence. So no shouting or slamming doors. But no matter how nicely you do it, placing a social being into isolation with no stimuli is punishment. Okay, if you're still reading this, you probably want to know if there's anything about the program that I do like. And yes, there is. Project Moses. Project Moses Doggy Dan review. The first thing I really like is Project Moses. It's a chronicle of Doggy Dan's own dog, Moses. Starting at an 8-week-old puppy coming to his new home from the shelter all the way through to 8 months old. Doggy Dan really went to a lot of trouble to document everything from Moses' first car ride through all the puppy woes like chewing, mouthing, potty training, and crate training. You'll see firsthand how Doggy Dan teaches Moses basic obedience like sit, down, stand and stay, and leash walking, swimming, desensitizing, and socializing. There's a lot more in the Moses Project, and if you've got a puppy or are getting a puppy in the near future, the Moses Project could be useful. Although personally, I'd keep well clear of sections like applying the 5 golden rules to becoming a pack leader with your puppy and any techniques that revolve around this dominance theory. Puppy training. There's an entire section devoted to puppy training. The information is aimed at someone who is brand new to puppy training, and can be a good place to start before working through the Project Moses section. The puppy training section takes you all the way from an introduction to puppy training to basic command training. It also deals with things like your puppy first meeting the world and general unruly puppy behaviors. Dog problems. Many dog owners struggle with adult dogs and their behavior problems. This mostly stems from a lack of proper training during puppy phase. This is especially true for those of us who have adopted adult dogs from shelters, or dogs that came from an abusive background. But all is not lost, and these behaviors can be fixed. This section deals with the most common and major issues like separation anxiety, jumping up, pulling on the leash, hyperactivity, poor recall, as well as fears and phobias. But again, you have to dig through and avoid using any pack training, and try to piece together what techniques to use instead. Dog training. Dog training Doggy Dan review. As you can imagine from the title, this section deals with dog training. Things get quite detailed here. Doggy Dan delves into the body language of dogs, which I find very important. Understanding what your dog is saying to you through body and face language is an advantage which is often undervalued. Basic training concepts, rewards, and command training are dealt with here too. And there's even a section on teaching your dog to swim and play fetch, which I liked a lot. No training program would be complete without talking about safety within the human canine family unit. Doggy Dan does a good job of detailing this. The addition of a forum is a brilliant idea, and adds a lot of value to this program. From what I can tell, the forum is very active, with members posting questions about training scenarios they have trouble with. Doggy Dan answers the questions himself, so members are getting advice straight from the horse's mouth. I like the fact that this entire membership site consists of videos. I'm not sure how many hours all the videos amount to, but I have no doubt it's tons. The videos are in bite-sized recordings, so you won't get bored in checkout. After each video there's a written section highlighting just the important points. And most sections has a podcast recording with Doggy Dan himself. There are also several PDF downloads of useful checklists and other information, which is nice for those who liked hard copies of the information they're learning about. After rating this Doggy Dan review, should you buy the training program? I'm sure the program has worked for some people, but the risk of causing damage by using corrections and living by this alpha mentality is not worth it, in my opinion. Overall, it's not a bad program, but I can't wholeheartedly agree with the blend of correction and positive training mix. The foundation is a dominance or alpha training philosophy, which is not necessary to successfully train a dog. Many studies prove that better results are achieved with science-based, no-force, positive training. The blended program makes it tricky to select and use only the safest, positive, no-force techniques. German Shepherds are as sensitive as they are intelligent. Correction-style training will damage your dog. Rather spend your time learning positive techniques. The benefits for you and your German Shepherd to use only no-force, positive training is far more rewarding for both you and your dog. So there you have my Doggy Dan review. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions or comments for, or against, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to start the training right now with a free lesson or need more information about Doggy Dan's amazing dog and puppy training videos, click the link below.